Yo, welcome to another episode of the Coachly Controversial Podcast. I'm your host, Simply Nicholas87, and my co-host, Ty H.
Hey, what's going on? Glad to be here.
What's going on, good people? And for all the new people that have subscribed to the channel, you know my motto, hit that subscribe button. Also hit the like button and share the content, man. Trying to get it out here. We're on the road to 300, 55 away. 55 away.
Do not disturb.
Yeah, that's good. I think I got mine set on that.
Yeah, but do not disturb so we can talk to the people.
And
And
talk to the people. Had a interesting week in sports. I'm just gonna run through a couple things before I get into the goodies. Let's see. I'm gonna start with the draft. The Carolina Panthers selected their future quarterback.
yeah,
What are your thoughts on the pickup?
well, they had to. Yeah, I mean, they had to pick a quarterback. I mean, that's a position you had to address. You've had like 4 different quarterbacks in the last 3 years.
C. What's up, man? Salute.
Yeah, it was a situation where you had to establish someone at the future as the future of the position. I personally wanted CJ Stroud because I like taller quarterbacks. I like the 6'3" guy. Young is a little shorter. He's like 5'10", 5'11". And I know people might say, well, you got Russell Wilson or you got Drew Brees, but those guys carry more weight. This guy's only like 190 something pounds. And so when you have a situation like that, you got a guy that may be susceptible to injury if he takes hits. Um, Playing in Carolina, there's a chance he's going to take hits. People are going to probably say, well, when he was at Alabama, he was pretty durable. You got to understand Alabama, you got the best offensive line in all of college football. You got the best receivers to throw it to, the best running backs to hand it off to. And then on the other side, the best defense to put you on the short field. It's not like you're going to be taking a lot of hits playing for Alabama anyway. Mac Jones didn't get hit much. Even guys like Blake Sims and stuff didn't get hit much. A.J. McCarron didn't get hit much. When you're playing in Alabama, when you have that kind of line in front of you, you're not going to get hit much. I believe Bryce Young can play. I believe he has a good delivery of football. I'm not questioning his talent. I think he's a talented QB and can play. The issue is will his body be able to hold up? He played 190 something pounds. I know by the draft or the combine he was 205. Is he going to maintain that weight? Don't know why my screen keep going black, just like it didn't used to do that on here. But I'll worry about that later.
I still see you.
Okay, so with that, I don't know, but the pick. I mean, I get it. I mean, it's a matter of preference. They had to get someone. They got who they says the franchise quarterback. I want it to work out. Hopefully, they can put weapons around him. Hopefully, they can protect him and keep him upright. And hopefully, he could be our guy and can lead us for the next 10 to 12 years.
Agree. I seen that y'all picked up. If I'm not mistaken, was it a receiver?
Yeah. God. In the second round, right? Or
yeah.
What college you played at?
Was it Ole Miss?
Yeah, the receiver from Ole Miss. I don't even know his name right now. Is it Galloway or something like that?
I think so. I know it was a receiver in the second pick.
Well, you got rid of DJ Moore, so you got to get some targets for him to throw it to. So,
yeah,
you got the QB. Now you got to get a playmaker. So, I mean, I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah,
I heard on the safety they got in the third round from Florida State. Is supposed to be good. I hadn't really seen it. My brother's a big Florida State fan, so he watches FSU all the time. And shout out to Anthony Harris, he's an FSU alum and fan.
Yes, sir.
Both FSU. He's an alum of both FSUs. But anyway, my brother's a big Florida State fan, so he was telling me about the safety. He said this guy plays with a chip on the shoulder, and the comments that he made, I like. He wasn't doing that. Oh, I'm so happy to be here type commentary. He was saying like, hey, I'm better than the third rounder. Like. And I'm pretty ticked that I failed this far in the draft. And I'm going to show people that made a mistake by letting me drop this far. And I'm coming to handle business. I like that mentality, especially from the safety position. You got to have someone that has that level of nastiness. So hopefully if he has the skill and that nastiness, it'll translate well on Sundays. And he may be a guy who may make an early contribution to the team.
All right. I was getting to basketball. As you know, purple and gold.
You know it.
Hey, semifinals. Game 2 tonight in about 55 minutes. What's your thoughts Oh well, I'm gonna go to the first round because we didn't even cover that.
Yeah.
That's up with the 2 seed Grizzlies versus us as a 7 seed play-in team. But nonetheless, I seen this coming, and I'll say this: um, we definitely put we definitely showed that we are more than a 7 seed at the moment. The way we played it down the stretch, we played at a 7 seed. Some games, I'm not gonna say all, but we had our stretches of ups and downs in that series. So, what are your thoughts on?
Well, you got to realize, yeah, the Lakers are 7 seed, but at the same time, the core of guys they have on the team weren't on the team earlier in the year. Most of a lot of the losses that the team accumulated came with a different nucleus of guys. If you remember, the Lakers did a lot of wheeling and dealing at trade deadline. That's when you brought in right before trade deadline, you brought in Rui Hachimura. You brought then at deadline, you brought in people like D'Angelo Russell. Which, then people like Austin Reeves got into the starting lineup and all that. So the point I'm making is the core that you see on the court now, besides James and Davis, is not the core that you had at the beginning of the year. Therefore, yeah, you might say they're a 7 seed, but this group of guys, I think since All Star break, the Lakers record were like 17-7 going into the playoffs, which was tied for best or second best in the West. So you're saying since these guys have been together, they've been playing like record wise the best ball in the Western Conference as a unit. That 43-39 record, that's reflective of what they did when they had the other guys who are no longer on the team.
Right.
So it's not a fair measuring stick to say, oh, they're outplaying their 7 seed status. It's, well, no, this team here is not the same team that accumulated most of those losses that led you to being a 7 seed. So out of we lost 39 games, about 32 of those losses came with an entirely different group of guys.
True. And started considering we started the season at 2-10 with little to no hope. But
A different group of guys.
yeah. But shout out to Rob Lincoln for making
Yeah,
those moves.
they made some masterful moves at the end of stretch run of the season.
Yeah.
Approaching deadline and during deadline, he made some great moves, especially the D'Angelo Russell move, especially the Rui Hachimura move, and that helped. And you're looking
Yeah.
at it now paying dividends. It's given it takes a lot of pressure off of James and Davis when they got other guys who can step up and play.
Right. Anson County 88 in the building. What's going on, Anson County 88?
They
Salute
got to
to
be
you.
one of our classmates.
I don't want to put your government out there, but
They do that.
I think I know who you are.
Got to be
I,
one of our classmates.
yeah, I think I know who you are.
Got to be
But,
an 06.
yeah, they got to be between '06 and '07. Probably '06.
Probably 06, yeah.
Yeah, I know who you are. I got you. I got you. I know exactly what it is.
Well, shout out to you, whoever you may be.
One of our favorite coaches. We just brought him up at the beginning.
They coach at Anson.
No, they played at Anson, but he said they graduated from 2 FSU alums.
Okay, is he really slick with his movement?
No.
So okay,
He's
okay.
he's in the building. He gave his last name. We know the
Yeah, what's up, man? That's our former guest panelist, right?
yeah, former guest, yeah.
Hey, what's going on, Harris, man? You know your family to the show, so you're well
That makes
respected. You're well
that.
respected in your hometown, man.
But yeah. Going into the second round, I'll say this. I feel real well in the second round now. Feel real good about this series. If we could play like we did game one, except towards the end of the game, but the first 3 quarters,
Good teams make runs, though, man. That happens
yeah. The good thing is we didn't need threes. Oh yeah, we glad to be back, man. Glad to be back.
always.
Yeah, glad to be back. But the good thing is we didn't need threes to win this game. The domination in the paint, you know, took over, and free throws helped out a lot. We were, I don't think they had maybe 3 free throws before
They
halftime.
had 6 free throws. A lot of people been crying about that, and something I want to say about that. is there's a big free throw discrepancy, but you got to understand there's also big points in the paint discrepancy. You got to realize Golden State Warriors are a team that rely heavily on the 3-point shot, so they're shooting a lot of perimeter shots, whereas the Lakers are dropping the ball inside. So the Lakers outscored in points in the paint, something like 54-29. Does that mean the Lakers are taking a larger number of shots down in the paint, as Hubert Brown would say, in the painted area? So when you're getting the ball in the painted area, you're more likely to draw fouls and get the free throw line. Whereas when you're standing around shooting threes, you're not. It's just in this case, they didn't hit enough of them, and the Lakers were more aggressive attacking the basket. That people want to. I think it's funny when people want to blame the officiating. Like even when they were playing Sacramento, there were people who come up with a silly assertion that the officials were behind Sacramento. So you mean to tell me that the officials were behind Sacramento instead of the reigning and defending champions? You mean to tell me that officials were behind Sacramento instead of a team that already won 4 championships within the last decade with a 2-time league MVP? Yeah, come on. And then even coming against the Lakers, you mean to tell me that that the home team, whatever, that there's some fix in like. At the end of the day, the Lakers won game 1. Game 2 is tonight. We'll see what happens. All the Lakers needed was 1 game in San Fran. They got the game in San Fran. They've stolen home court advantage. We'll see if the Lakers can compete tonight and see what they do when they get to their building.
Absolutely. We definitely gonna see that tonight. And I put it like this: with I don't know what the health status of AD is, but need more of that. And I definitely, huh?
He's as healthy as he's been all year. He's 30 points, 23 rebounds, and 4 block shots. And to me,
he's looking great in the playoffs. I can't even complain.
And the last
two playoff blocks.
The last 2 blocks he had, you could say, sealed the game.
Yeah.
When they were trying to rally, he blocked Curry, and then I think he blocked Poole one of those times.
Yeah. So he had 4 blocks. So I mean,
and 2 of them were down the stretch were meaningful. To me, determine the outcome of the game, or at least contributed to the outcome of the game.
And we seen a flash of LeBron block. I don't know where that came from, but he took out of nowhere.
Yeah,
back blocks.
LeBron's shot's still not falling like it needs to. I need him to get in a better offensive rhythm. But one thing, he didn't try to force it. He's still not back in full force offensively. It's not there. His jump shot's not. He doesn't have his legs on them.
Here we go. Well, I'm glad y'all got a quarterback. Hope you win y'all a conference championship. But anyway, the Jets.
That dude want to be Brett Favre so bad. But anyway,
that's his idol. No.
Yeah. So then I guess if that don't work out, then he's going to go to the Vikings, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and then he's going to retire, and then 10 years later, then he's going to get involved in some food stamp fraud.
No. Well, is he going down to begin closing on that?
Him and Ted DiBiase Jr. They got Ted DiBiase Jr. on that too.
Yeah,
if you're familiar with the wrestling back in the day, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, his son also wrestled Ted DiBiase Jr. Ted DiBiase Jr. got charged with similar charges to Brett Favre with welfare fraud in Mississippi.
Yeah, I got to stop this, man. This welfare stuff. Yeah,
your dad is the $1 Million Man.
He got some kind of money. Money. Everything has a price.
Everybody has a price. They do that laugh.
Everything has a price. What's the name?
Virgil, man. It ain't politically correct. Man, can you imagine in 2023 if they did that with Virgil? Like, had a guy like Ted DiBiase had Virgil.
Oh, yeah.
Woo! They tried to do that like in 2012 when they brought Ted Jr. and they brought Virgil back and put him with Ted Jr. for like a month.
Yeah, that didn't quite. It didn't. It was there, but it's not the same.
You can't do that in modern times, man. Just think everybody's gonna be cool with it.
Nah, you can't do that.
And I remember Ted Jr. He tried to get R-Truth to be his Virgil because he was like, "Hey, Truth, I need so." No, he said, "I need someone to help carry my bags and stuff, man. Do you mind?" And R-Truth's like, "Sounds like you need you a Virgil." I was like, this is making me a little uncomfortable. Why do you choose R-Truth of all people?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I'm like, come on. That whole
look at the wrist.
Like, they don't think that was okay.
Well, it was a lot of controversial stuff that happened in WWE. The whole,
that one was like a come on, man.
I don't know. That would be like in the top 5. Number 1 is definitely that John Cena Vince McMahon moment.
when he used the word.
Yeah. Nah, that
Yeah,
was.
he'll pick on Booker T when Booker T did
Oh
it
yeah,
with.
now Booker T is that's the classic because he forgot he was on camera. He he went full Houston, Texas, right?
Yeah, Houston
Hogan,
to be from Harlem.
Hogan, we coming for you. I think he's gonna say sucker,
Sucker.
but all right. So we're gonna get into tonight's topic. It's been a big buzz this week, and I think was it this morning or maybe yesterday it passed. As y'all know, the name of the title, NIL, has came to
The
great
likeness.
state to North Carolina, and I have mixed emotions on this, and it's not in a bad way, but it's in a good way. So I'll say this: as far as do I
Well,
think it's great that they're
Nick,
getting?
Nick, Nick, but before you tell how you feel about it, give the people a little bit about what it entails. I hadn't really had a chance to read the whole thing, but can
So
you kind of
basically, so
give?
basically it's the name NIL. If you don't know, name, image, and likeness. You get paid off of appearances, hosting camps, um, brands or clothing, that sort of etc. That sort of nature. But there are stipulations to this NIL. So for one, you cannot, and I repeat, you cannot use the school's name when you are promoting a camp or some sort of speaking event. If you are caught, it will be a 60-day like a holding period, or basically 60 days of not getting paid, a 2-month wait. Also no tobacco, no alcohol and such stuff. You get the drift. And basically you can make money. And also you cannot get paid by the school.
Okay,
Now,
so those are important details. That's why I wanted you to make sure that was understood before
yeah.
you continue.
Now, how do I feel about it? Do I think kids should make money? Absolutely. I don't have a problem with it. Not at all. I know some people's circumstances are different than others. We live in a high poverty area. Of course, if you get an NIL deal, it's great, you know. But here's my thing with it. Now, knowing the age of the person, they are not able to sign an NIL. That it becomes the parents that have to sign for the NIL, right? So, with that being said, those that are I say 18, you basically can sign your own NIL deal. I think at that point in time you are at that term you are an adult.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give you the good side of it. It's a good thing to get your name out there early, high school student. Um, good endorsements, getting paid. Don't have to feel like you're struggling on certain things. But here's the bad side. It could cause a drift. And what I mean by a drift, so let's just say for the sake of argument, you're my coach, right? My coach in the state of North Carolina, head coach, maybe averages a yearly salary of maybe 55 or $60,000 at max. Maybe not this using this as a number. Using this as a number. Could be less. Well, I'll just say 40. I'll just say 40. 40.
Depending on where you are, but go ahead.
Yeah, but on average in the state, I looked it up, it's 60,000.
Yeah, it
But
was
it's different other areas. But anyway, we'll just say 45,000. My NIL deal is, let's just say I get an NIL deal and they let's say Gatorade decides to come and sponsor me or something. They give me $100,000. You know where I'm going?
yeah.
You think the inflation, the circumference of your ego may get in the way of you actually wanting to do something special as an athlete, or no?
I want to chime in on this because I get what you're saying, and I get what you're saying. Coach Harris posted on my Facebook. I get what he's saying. I think Coach McElhaney and Coach Fred Davis
Yeah.
commenting on. I was wanting to get Coach Jackson and Coach Gruden's opinion on it, but I haven't. They didn't post anything on my page about it. Uh, I, those hypotheticals, think about it. It's kind of hard to determine how to evaluate those hypotheticals because what's the likelihood of that kind of situation? Like, for example, I don't mean this as an insult to anybody, but let's take Senior High School for example.
Right.
There's not we got. I think we have a talented team, but they God heaven soul on that team that I saw last year is gonna get a Gatorade deal for $100,000, and I don't mean that as an insult.
No. I get. Hey, I'm just using this example. Yeah, I
Yeah,
get.
yeah. I mean, you might hope the Southern Fabricators or Hornwood or something.
It's an NIL. I mean,
Yeah,
you just,
to me, that that's more of a Rosebud trucking or something like that. It's more of a Ladybug restaurant, a La Fagata, maybe something like that. I don't think the lucrative side is going to come out of it. You got to understand to be someone to get something lucrative of that nature. I would think you would need to be like because Gator is a national, maybe global company.
yeah.
Like Coca-Cola, not as powered with Coke, but you get my point.
Yeah.
A company of that magnitude, you got to be, I think, a national level talent and have national level attention
Yeah.
to pull
Five-star type.
that kind of And see, and here's another thing: is the school can't pay you, it's whoever can pay you. So I get when people say that, hey, they have concerns for like rural type programs and all that, but at the end of the day, it's not like okay, if a player at Senior High School, it's not like Mallet Creek is going to snatch a kid from Anson High School and say, hey, here, you can get this endorsement because you can play with us. Because more than likely, that kid from Anson High School is going to be buried on the bench at Mallet Creek. You're talking about a team that probably got 100 players on it.
I see. I see. I ain't gonna catch you. I see the scenario happening more in the Charlotte area or Greensboro, somewhere in those bigger
those
inner
urban
city areas.
departments. Let me read what Harris said. It will be top prospects getting the big deals like Zamir White. Hey, if you're gonna go to Anthony Harris or like Stephon Anthony, I'm gonna champion our guy. Yeah. But I get what you're saying. Someone like that, or someone like a Chris Leak when he was playing. Someone like a potential. Trying to think of other national, like Tony Baker when he was playing at Ragsdale, like that level guy. Those are like once in a generation type talents anyway. And just if you're not running into those guys every day in a rural area, I'm talking about of that level.
Shout out to Town in the building. Salute, chief.
So yeah, it can impact Charlotte. But to me, when we say impact Charlotte, it may impact Charlotte whereas somebody leaves West Charlotte to go to Independence, and someone leaves Independence to go to Mallet Creek. But that's not really hurt. That's just that kind of stuff goes
That's
on.
like it's kind of like having a transfer portal in an inner city area.
But inner city basically has a de facto transfer portal anyway. I mean, it's not labeled as that, but
no, it's not labeled yet. But it's the same thing.
Charlotte already has a de facto transfer portal, so it may just so the massive transfers in Charlotte, Greensboro, Raleigh, maybe Fayetteville, happen like that. Anyway, it's just now that this may be another contributing factor to where someone transferred to, but I don't think it is necessarily going to cause this mass influx of transfers throughout the state. I just feel like in the urban metropolitan areas, you're going to just start seeing more of the same. It's just going to be that's going to become one of the components of the transferring. It's just going to be one of the additional elements added to it. I think a lot of it is because when people hear NIL deal and they hear the term of high school kids making money off their likeness, I think people automatically assume it reeks of the sound of a 16-year-old kid bringing in 6-figure bags. And I don't think I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think it's unlikely, especially if you're not a national level recruited talent. I don't really see someone all of a sudden changing their family dynamic off of this. I think it's just one of those things where somebody can make a little extra change off of their.
I get that, but I'm just using that as the example. Like, let's just say, for the sake of argument, somebody. Let's see, we can't say. Yeah, that's a good point.
I agree with that, Harris. I think some kids will move. Um, One thing that we know, especially in rural areas, and I'm not trying to be controversial, but a lot of our exceptional athletes look like me, look like you, and look like Nick, Coach Harris. And some of them are in situations where the families can't even afford to move, where that's not even plausible. I think, of course, if there's a will, there's a way, and we've seen kids move around before, so we know that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it's going to be to the point to where it's going to kill a program. I don't think it's going to be at that level because think about it. Just like a guy can move out, a guy can also move in. So I mean, to me, just like even with and I know this is not a transfer portal discussion, but just to use this for the sake of argument, just like with transfer portal, teams lose guys to transfer portal, but you also have the opportunity to gain. So everybody's working on the same playing field. The only difference, which I think you mentioned, Harris, is that someone in Fayetteville probably can pull a Hope County kid, or could probably pull a kid from Lumberton or something like that, because Cumberland County probably got more resources than Robeson County. So yeah, a team like I'm not gonna say 71st Coast, a team like Jack Britt might can pull a kid from Purnell Sweat. And we know there ain't nobody Purnell Sweat anybody wants, but you get my point. But you get my point. What?
I get you, Drew. Go ahead. I get it.
Oh, like I'll do a better example. They can pull a kid from Lumberton. Like for example, years ago, Coach Hayes, you remember Marquez North, don't you? Marquez North, former Mallet Creek receiver, played college ball at University of Tennessee Volunteers. A lot of people forget his freshman year he played quarterback at Lumberton, but he ended up. And I'm not accusing him of anything that was improper. I'm just stating the fact that he ended up playing at Mallet Creek and being a decent level recruit and played at Tennessee. Was a coveted wide receiver. The point I'm making is, yeah, it'll make it easier for a team in Raleigh to pluck a kid from Lumberton. It'll make it more enticing. Let's say if you do run into another Tim Horn, if you do run into another Stephon Anthony, and he has an aunt or uncle that lives in Matthews, it might make it easier to say, well, let's go to Butler or let's go to Rocky River. You know, I get it, but I don't think it's going to be this mass thing like at the end of every season.
Just a bunch
James
of
Kirby is entering the transfer portal. Chris Leak is entering the transfer portal. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think right now it's the.
Well, later that almost happened one time, but
I think what we're thinking about the worst case scenarios, but I don't think the worst case scenario is going to be the common scenario.
Yeah, he was that dude. Yeah.
Oh, you talking Marquez North?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they played Marquez North.
Yeah, but I definitely get what you're saying. I don't think it's gonna be like the college is now, because that's hectic right now. Like that, now since they've done that, it's just you connecting that.
Yeah, that's a little different because you're talking about major corporations. When we're looking at high school football, and even some schools in Charlotte, it's depending on what school it is. Because let's not pretend like it's all equal in Charlotte. If you go on the campus of Harding University High School, and you compare it to the campus of Myers Park or Arthur, it ain't the same. So
not the same, man.
So the point I'm making, and to my homegirl Tamara, I know she's an administrator at West Charlotte, so this is not a diss, but she could tell you, and anybody else could tell you, ain't nobody got millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in anything to do with West Charlotte. I'm talking about Charlotte High School. I'm just using that as an example. Ain't nobody got major bucks at West Charlotte or Harding High School. You can look at them raggedy facilities. They look like they're gonna cave in on the next thunderstorm. What?
Yeah, I'm this rant. Go ahead.
And you can look at that school that look like it's infested with mold.
It's not it's not a Mallet Creek. It's not a
that look like when the next windstorm gonna come, it's gonna fall in. The school is in looking like Eastside High. And there ain't no money invested in that place. Or, for example, Harding won the 4A state championship a few years ago. They couldn't get the championship ring. Thomas Davis had to come buy the championship ring for them. So I don't.
Davis for doing it.
Right.
He didn't have to do it, but he did. He ain't even from here.
Nah, his kids go to Whittington. I saw him at an Anson Whittington game one time.
Well,
No,
I hope he bought
no
Whittington
lie, because
Station in
it was
Pittsburgh.
Whittington's homecoming, and his daughter was on the homecoming court at Whittington, and he was like standing right in front of Anson's bench. And I remember Larry Howard was like TD, and then he turned around and deuced us up in the stands. Uh, yeah, that true story. But
Oh yeah,
anyway, but the
but
point I'm making is, and I'm not even trying to politicize it or racialize it or anything. The point I'm talking about is even the schools within the large cities. It's not necessarily even about large cities. It's about which schools. And somebody I talked to, who's in a prominent position in high school athletics, said this to me. He said that well, I'm not gonna say what I'll say is I feel like it'll be more of an advantage to a place like Ardrey Kell. I feel like it'll be more of an advantage to a place like Whittington, where you have people involved in the school, people who are connected to school, whether it's via the boards there or on committees there or whatever case would be, or sponsors there, who have the resources to sponsor players with deals. Like Weddington, I'm sure you have people who are CEOs and stuff who have kids to go to Weddington, that have best interest in Weddington, that community, who can use their car dealership as a sponsor for a kid. Versus, we know good and darn well that Gay Chevrolet is not GAYE. That Gay Chevrolet is not gonna ain't gonna make a kid at Forest Hill rich. We know good and darn well that's not gonna happen.
nah, that's not gonna happen.
But that doesn't mean, and I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying this guy's connected to Weddington. That doesn't mean that a kid from Weddington can't get a deal with Felix Sabatos Mercedes-Benz of South Charlotte, Charlotte's premier Mercedes-Benz dealership. It doesn't mean that can't happen. So I think it's not only is it more about the schools in the city that'll be able to. Yeah, Pinecrest is an example. That's they got the resources. That's up there in Southern
Yeah.
Pinehurst.
Yes, they definitely got the resources. When you look at the picture, Whittington has resources. I didn't go as far as say Parkwood has resources.
Yeah, but they kind of
They like in the line in the borderline between
yeah. Part was kind of mixed territory, but
yeah.
we know Monroe ain't.
No. There you go.
We
There's
know
another one.
Carter Gibbons good.
Carl.
And if we're gonna go there, Charlotte Catholic. Since we're gonna go on our end, let's do Charlotte Catholic will have the resources for it. Right. So the thing about it, I mean, Coach Harris, the people that you're mentioning are schools that are already at a competitive advantage, who are already resource-wise head and shoulders above people anyway. So they're already working at a higher playing field. So is it really gonna? To me, it's already a gap. So is it just gonna maybe widen it a little more, or just gonna help preserve the gap, or is it really gonna create a greater gap? And we're not gonna know until we see. And then when it comes to the Pinecrest thing, if I was Richmond Senior, that's something that would worry me. If I was Scotland County, that would worry me, because that's in their general area.
Yeah.
And they got athletes. Richmond Senior already had a historically bad season.
That's about as bad as since I've been alive. I've known they had.
They went 5-6. That's bad. Coach Brian Teal, who's a guy I don't really have a lot of respect for, might be on, and I don't mind saying that. I don't have a lot of respect for Coach Brian Teal. If they have a season like that again, he's going to be out the door. And you got to understand with Pinecrest, Coach Edens, who's the man I have immense respect for, Anson County native, did an excellent job at Pinecrest last year. He got resources at Pinecrest, and he got ties to Richmond Senior. I'm sure there are people at Richmond Senior borders. I mean, Richmond County borders Moore County. It's nothing for someone to pack up and move from northern Richmond County up to Aberdeen. So
it's right there.
It's 20 miles away. So
yeah,
to me, a program like Richmond Senior, who's always had control, who's always had a stranglehold on their community, what would it do to them? See, with Anson County, we're already been drained. We're already as low as we can be. So now, with us, there's nowhere to go but up. With the Richmond Senior, there's nowhere to go but down.
Yeah. We'll widen the gap as far as the small schools within the rock throwing distance of a school with big resources.
That's fair. Like, for example, a school like Rocky River could take everything that a school like West Stanley got.
Yeah, it's right there.
West Stanley and Rocky River and Mid Hill is only about 15, 14 miles from
Red Cross to
Red Cross, yeah,
yeah.
something like that. Yeah, Mint Hill Red Cross about 12 miles apart, so roughly. From 12, 14 miles apart, just across Cabarrus and Stanley County. Um, yeah, that makes sense. The thing about us with Anson Senior, the closest wealthy school to us is Weddington, which is about 40 miles away.
Yeah.
Weddington's already loaded, and if you look at the makeup of Weddington's team, Anson, there ain't that many Anson guys who fit the mold of what Weddington will be bringing in, unless your daddy plays in the NFL.
I see what you did there. Yeah. See what you did
Yeah,
there.
so that's because your dad is a millionaire, so it's okay, he's accepted, But
Yeah.
and to be honest with you, my whole thing is how has Anson been affected by it? Anson's only had one winning season in the last 13 years, so I mean, what do we have to lose in the war, And that's not a knock on anybody. I'm just stating a fact. What do we have to lose?
Shout out to Wendell. What's up, Wendell? Appreciate you for coming through, man. Yeah, but you're right. Like this area, this general area, there's nothing. I mean, like you said, they. I can't use the word I want to use, but it's them going to Weddington. Like you said, they may just be going to go sit on the bench.
Right, going to sit on the bench, and then you ain't gonna maintain the NIL deal if you ain't got no marketability because you're sitting on the bench.
Exactly. So it's a like I said, it's a two-way street to those things. So like you said, NIL deal, name, image, and likeness. Let's just say for the sake of argument, you're on the verge of being that guy in the
Yeah,
next 2 years or something. You
yeah.
decide, oh, my program's not that. I'm gonna go here. But then you realize when you go there, you got more 4 or 5 star recruits at that one school, and you're on the cusp of becoming. Let's just say you're on the cusp of becoming a 4 star.
See,
They're gonna put.
I don't think football is going to be. I think where you're going to see the biggest impact is basketball.
There you go. Now I'm glad you got to that point there.
Because with basketball, transferring most of the time, if you got a guy that's a true D1 caliber player in your team, he's going to go to the Oak Hill Academy anyway. I know that's in Virginia, but you get my point. He's gonna leave just like the kid at Richmond Senior High School, the guy that thinks going to be a top 10.
Yeah, Paul McNeil, yeah.
Yeah, he had left and went to some school in Vegas. I know he came back. I don't know if was he still there when they went on that run to state championship game or not. But he
I
had
think
left.
he was there.
Yeah, but he came back in the middle of the season after he had left previously. My point is, like Bam Adebayo, for example, he's from Eastern North Carolina. I used to date a girl that's kin to him. He transferred to like High Point Christian and stuff like that. Most time in basketball, they end up transferring to these boarding/preparatory schools anyway. Just like back when Laurinburg Institute was around, they used to transfer to places like that anyway. Now, if you got a star basketball player, and the thing about it, basketball players are more marketable than football players anyway, because football players wear helmets, so a lot of times they're not as recognizable. Whereas basketball players' faces are always visible.
Yeah, the image. You
Yes,
get the image and likeness of that person.
first, and basketball is more of an individualized sport. So you're one of 12, you're one of 5 on the court instead of one of 11. So that's more probability of you being seen, more probability of you standing out. You're only one of 12 on the entire team versus possibly one of 100 or one of 50 or whatever on the team. So and most of the time, basketball true star D1 level high school basketball players that got a chance to be an NBA prospect most of the time don't stay at their original public school in their hometown. They usually end up transferring to some of these Word of God Christian academies, Mount Zion Academy,
and Christ the King,
places like that. And the thing about it, and most of those schools got the resources where they can have businesses who sponsor, who can get those guys an idea. Now you could take the kid from Richmond Senior and Victory Christian could say, hey, Scott Clark Toyota is going to offer you a deal for blah, 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 blah. Come play with us. Or High Point, Van York Cadillac out of High Point could take get the guy from High Point and get the sponsor you at High Point Christian Academy. That's why I think you're going to see it. And the thing about it, when it comes to Anson, when it comes to basketball, I mean, sometimes we're okay, sometimes we're not. So, and that's beside the point. We're talking about on principle.
Yeah.
When it's a basketball, when you have a major basketball prospect, if you got one that's in a school that's not resourced, I feel like these preparatory schools or big time public schools that got big resources are going to take your basketball players. That's why I think you're going to see the biggest impact.
I agree with that because it happened even before NIL it was happening. So
Right.
this is one of those things where we trying to get out now, and this is the way out. This was
Good,
the
good thing about Anderson, even when your center is only 5'11", I know we got a 6'8" kid, but I'm being funny, but I'm being facetious. But typically speaking, when your center is like 6'2" in Anderson, you ain't really got nothing to worry about.
That's true, especially with the guy in Richmond is like 6'7", 6'8". So
Yeah, and I'm talking about he's a guy that's they think like lottery potential.
yeah, I think and if I ain't mistaken, he was number 10. And I think him and Bronny, well, no, Bronny in this class. He in the next year's class.
Oh, so he's still got another year of eligibility.
Yeah, and he's a top 10. He's 5-star.
Oh, word. If he like that, and now this thing passed, I need Ladybird Restaurant, Hornwood, Southern Jones Creek,
Jones Creek,
the Driftwood, Crazy J's Diner.
Well, Driftwood's gone.
Yeah, but you get my point.
Yeah.
What else we got? Waysboro Lumber and Barn.
Yeah.
I need them all to come together and let's get that guy, get him out of that ugly gold and that ugly green. Let's get him and set up a meeting with him and Coach Jordan and let's make something special happen, man.
Hey, look, man, let me tell you something. That sounds all nice until somebody calls Scott Clark Toyota and be like, "Hey,
Scott Clark, tell him we got Beecham Elite Ford, boy."
Something like that.
We got Beecham Elite Ford. We got Anson Auto Auction right across the street from him.
Something like that.
We got what's the place out there in Polkton? My man Mr. Poe, he got him.
Yeah.
Smith Funeral Home.
Well, I mean that'd be the only. Now that's about the best NIL deal you gonna get right there.
Smith got the bread. He can do it.
Yeah, you can get an NIL deal.
Yeah, get an NIL Smith Funeral Home. Be out there rolling the caskets and stuff.
Yeah,
you be like, when the Undertaker we're cranking that casket. Have Stephon Anthony out there cranking that casket and have Coach Jackson in the video. My linebacker. And then he and the commercials.
Yeah, I think he's gonna stay. I don't think he's going to unless it's something that's really now that it's here. It could possibly happen, but
he had already left one time.
Where else could he go? Well, he can go in that area. That's got the money.
I mean, he can go like High Point Christian or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, he can go anywhere in the state. He
probably country,
but he is the number one basketball player in the state. He's number 10 in the nation. So I'm pretty sure he's number 1 in North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure too. And out there, Richmond High School.
Yeah. So
what's his name again?
Paul McNeil.
Paul McNeil. He ain't kin to
I think that's a different set.
Okay, you know I give it that.
Yeah, that's a different set. I don't think they can.
I'm like Kenny McNeil stuff.
I think that's a whole different set.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, that's a whole different set. But hey, shout out to him if he is. Hey, you get the NIL deal up here.
Tell him to come through.
Yeah, we get you to come through. Talk on the show. Look at Cooch. Shout out to Cooch, man. This is my public service announcement because it's always my motto. Please, nobody sub up or watch this content. Shout out to Cooch.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
He's a great guy. Shout out to Cooch. But yeah, I like you said, the basketball side of this NIL is gonna be where it happens. When you start seeing these inner city kids, they already play AU ball, so you already know they 24/7.
Yeah, like high school basketball is already diluted anyway. But I think, and I think the NIL is going to make it even worse when it comes to basketball. I think basketball is where you're going to see the biggest and got the hiccups.
Well, technically, I feel like they ain't technically got to get it through high school. They can get it just to play AU.
Oh,
see what I'm saying now? Like, I don't have to play high school basketball,
right? Because that's just your name, image, you like this. Yeah, I got you now. Yeah.
You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah,
technically, Now you can just play.
Now the guy don't even have to play for his school at all.
Exactly. All I gotta do is graduate, get
Yep,
my diploma, and go to the G League
yep,
and work my ranks up. That's
yep,
how it works. And you still getting paid.
yep. Get paid. You here to get paid.
So damn if you do, damn if you don't. So it's one
But
of
but he
those.
and I'm when it comes to how I feel whether I'm for or against it, I'm like to me I'm not even emotionally invested in it enough to say I'm for or against it. It's just one of those things. It is what it is, and I accept it. And like my boss told me the other day because we were talking about this. He said because I was telling him about it, and he's actually kind of an older gentleman. Was actually my boss's boss, but we were on the phone, and he's an older gentleman. He said, "Look, he said anytime you have a special talent that the majority of the public don't have. Anytime there's something that you can do that's coveted that most people don't have, that means there's a low supply of it and a high demand for it. So anytime there's something in which the supply is low but demand is high, you can
Mm,
set a price tag on it. And when you possess something that's highly demanded that very few people can offer, you're going to get paid for it.
true. And I
And,
mean,
and I think,
like I said, I don't have. I'm not against it. I just feel like some. I just this is me, and it's just my way of thinking. With that kind of money at that kind of age, and you have nobody to manage it, you can do a lot of reckless things. Not everybody. You have a percentage. I'll say a small percentage, like a 5%, that could take that money and God knows do what. You know.
yeah, but I mean, it's your business what you do with your money.
Yeah, it's your business. Yeah, but you know
Number,
that's
number, number two, we see grown men blow, and women blow money all the time. To
absolutely.
to me, it's not my job to police what someone does with their money.
Yeah,
uh, if it's been established that they have the right to it and they have the right to earn it and use their name, image, and likeness to earn it, then whatever happens with it is their
it is what
business.
it is. But
Because to me, and I'm not trying to get into politics, but one of the conservative talking points is that government try to control people's lives. So if we want a system where government try to control people's lives and control people's money, that kind of goes against that entire philosophy. And it seems like sometimes those talking points are talking points based on convenience. When it's convenient and when it aligns with the viewpoints of the people who express it, then they're for it. But when it doesn't align directly with their viewpoint, then there's something against it. And at that point, it's not even about liberalism or conservatism. At that point, I think it becomes about a fear of who's going to be getting the money. And I think if they once we see how this plays out, the people that they fear who's going to get it are not going to be the ones getting it. The people who get it are going to be the people who don't even need it, such
need it.
as the
Yeah,
women and the
that's
immigrants. And
the part I'm getting at.
and you got to realize the North Carolina General Assembly. If you knew the makeup of North Carolina General Assembly, most of their policies favor people who are Weddington, Pinecrest. They're not
Carla
they're not
Gibbons.
policies that favor Anson Senior. They're not policies that favor Albemarle High School. They're not. Uh,
West Stanley.
well, West Stanley is actually kind of getting right near, kind of going toward the way. It's just that West Stanley's one of that want to be like that. They just ain't got. They just not quite there yet.
Yeah,
just
they're like we getting out of this area. We finna get into the
yeah,
suburbs.
yeah. But the point I'm making is that if you look at the makeup of North Carolina General Assembly, they would have never passed anything that they felt like would benefit the people who are underprivileged, who they look at as like the people who are the people that they think need to work harder and that kind of stuff. You get what I'm saying? They wouldn't have passed anything they felt like was going to benefit that group of people. If they felt like that's what was going to benefit, that's typically not what a conservative North Carolina General Assembly would pass. Uh, at least in their mind, I don't think that they're looking for. Like for example, a poor black kid from Anson Senior High School is not who the North Carolina General Assembly is prioritizing to look out for. That's not whose pockets are trying to put money in. If anything, the message is being conveyed that they need to work harder, they need to do this, they shouldn't be looking for the government, or shouldn't be looking for the government to bail them out, that type of thing. So those are not the people they have in mind. The people they have in mind are the people who are already doing well, who they want to protect, lower their taxes so they can preserve their wealth. So they're not going to pass anything that they feel like is going to enrich people who are already not at that level. They're more of an they have more of an interest of protecting the rich and helping them protect their wealth. The point I'm making is, I'm sure when this all plays out, we'll see it's not going to benefit that poor kid from high school. I don't think that's who they're going. I don't think that's who it's
They're
intended to
looking for. Yeah, they're not looking for that audience. The
Right. So, and I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised when we find out, because if it gets to the point to where that's who it ends up benefiting, they'll amend it to make sure it doesn't get out of control.
you probably can. They got people get paid to fish.
Yep, they sure do.
Down here they do. Them big bass tournaments, people get paid pretty good. But
Yeah, but I feel like 5 years from now, and no, I'm not getting ready to sing that gospel song. I feel like 5 years from now, uh, we're going to reflect on this conversation, and we're going to realize that a lot of this didn't have nearly as big of an impact as we thought it was going to have.
yeah, it's gonna be one of those things like I bought tickets to the club and I thought I got VIP passes and I ended up getting general admission.
Uh, Dude.
That's how I put it. It's the best names I give it without going left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I bought tickets to the country club and they told me I had to stand over there.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things. But I mean, me personally, I hope it works out. I hope I'm wrong. I will say I hope I'm wrong what I think about it, which I'm pretty sure I am. But you know, to those
I'm,
that
I'm not against young men and women
make money.
making money. I'm not against young men and women making money off their talent, and I'm not a coach, so I don't have to deal with the egos of young men and women every day. I'm not a school teacher. I don't have to deal with the attitudes, the egos, and the trying to manage the personalities of teenagers. And so I respect Coach Harris's opinion. I respect Coach McLean's opinion. I respect Coach Davis's opinion, because you guys have done the job. A couple of you guys still doing the job, and you've had your hands in it and know the rigors and the difficulties of trying to manage a program, especially when you're dealing with personalities of young men, and also when there are a lot of distractions that can take focus away from young men, and especially lots of times when their economic situation can be the driving force of those distractions. And also the company they keep can be impacted by that, and sometimes that can be driving distraction as well. I understand all of that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I have a hard time being against young men and women making money off of the talent they have. And this is a capitalist society, and in the capitalist society, the money is there, and if it could be made and be made legally, I see nothing against it. And if a program or something suffers because of it, ultimately, you're responsible for your own happiness. I know we talk about teamwork and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, Anson Senior High School football team is not going to pay anybody's light bill. Anson County Board of Education is not going to pay anybody's water bill, and or Richmond Senior or Independence or whoever else. So at the end of the day, when you're making decisions, you got to make decisions that put you in the best position to be successful in your life. Same thing like when it comes to college football and college basketball with the transfer portal and all that. When people say, well, back in the day, people worked hard and they waited their turns and all that. At the end of the day, if your goal is to put yourself in a position to get to the NFL or whatever, you're going to make a choice to give yourself the best position to maximize your ability to put and make the most money for yourself and eventually for your family. If you're going to do that, I have no problem with that. And if your football team or basketball team end up losing games because you left, so be it. That championship trophy at the end of the year is never going to pay a bill for you.
That's true. I can't take that away. That's deep. But yeah, that's all. Like I said, I just wanted to touch on that and wanted to get your opinion on it. I gave mine. Like I said, I'm pretty sure, like you said, the VIP line is only getting that bag, but hopefully I'm wrong. You know.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, I just like you said, areas like this, nah, yeah. Not being funny. It just not gonna happen.
Man, Aries
Maybe
like
it
this.
could. Maybe it could. Now who knows? Maybe somebody famous will come back and be like, "Hey, I want to give
Kenneth
you a
Crawford. Kenneth Crawford, are we talking to you? Former
yeah,
Anson County track star.
yeah. Maybe
He's
Kenny
the
Crawford
runner. He's the track star.
might come back and give you a NIL deal with WWE or something. Who knows? You
That
know,
would be hot, man. Sponsored by Montez Ford and the World Wrestling Entertainment.
same. Yeah, Street Profits, NIL or something.
Yeah, to the guys that made it, Stephon Anthony, shout out to you. Tim Horn, shout out to you. Kenneth Crawford, aka Montez Ford, shout out to you. You guys give young men hope because when they see you, they look at you and say that can be me. So and I know someone might say, well, there's more to strive for than athletic fame and all that. I get that, but at the end of the day, these guys were good at their craft and maximized their talent and reached the highest level of their craft, and I think that should be commended.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've reached the 55-minute mark. We're about to close it down because purple and gold about to appear on the screen. So
Of course, that's what we
yeah,
do.
of course that's what we do, man. Game two. It's, what is the player said? You coach. Well, I guess it'd be off the team.
Yeah, maybe you just miss one team and keep it moving.
He just gonna
And,
get
that,
the boot.
and if a player has the gall to say that, that's the guy that you didn't need on the team in the first place.
It's true. Can't win with him. Can't coach him.
Cannot win with him.
Can't,
Cannot coach with him.
can't win coach with him.
Sound like Mike Singletary.
Yep. Can't do it. I'd rather play with
I'd
10.
rather have 10 men. Yeah, I never forget that.
But I'm gonna give you the flow. We're gonna close it out because purple and gold about the late show was about to come on. So
Yeah. Didn't really come prepared with anything. I'm gonna continue on with what we were just talking about. Lots of times when something new is rolled out, when something new is brought upon us, something that we've never seen before, we fear it and we attack it simply because we don't know anything about it. That concept, to me, is what fuels a lot of hatred and a lot of isms. I think those are things that refuse. Those are the type things that fuel racism. Those are the type things that fuel xenophobia, homophobia, and all those kind of things as well. Is the lack of something new or the lack of something changing. And I'm only 35 years old, and I've seen society change tremendously from the time I was growing up as a kid to now. And the one thing I've had to learn is that as society evolves, I have to evolve too. That doesn't necessarily mean that I have to give up my core principles, but it means I have to recognize and adapt and be able to adjust to the changes of society. Because if you do not evolve with the changes of society, you're going to be left out. Before you cut it off on me, let me give you an example. When the 3-point line was introduced to the NBA, there were a lot of, or basketball in general, a lot of coaches were against it. The coaches who embraced it continued to coach and excel. The coaches who rejected it ended up left by the wayside. It's one of those things where you either adapt to the changes of society or you're going to be left by the wayside. For the coaches and for the coaches out there who are managing programs, this is now a reality. And if you're going to continue in that profession, you're going to have to adapt, adjust, and manage through that reality and make the best of that reality to keep your program afloat. And those who reject it and are not able to adapt to it will be the ones who get left by the wayside.
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, appreciate everybody for coming through, man. I ain't really got much to say. Um, you know, these things don't come. I just say this. I didn't have this kind of stuff coming up, so NIL deal would have been sweet when I played. Maybe we probably would have had a chance of somebody getting one in.
I won't even on the team, and me and you play about the same amount of snaps, and I won't on the team.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like,
I'm just messing with you, man.
I'm just saying in general, like, as far as not just me, just other people that
I'm
were
just talking about.
there.
I'm just
People
talking
that
trash, dude. Come on.
no, I've got good people that were there. I put it like this: people that were there that had those high offer recruits, like
Barkwell Rivers, Trenton
like
Servant,
Barkwell,
Michael Bowman,
yeah, and Trent,
Marcus Ham Smith, guys like that. Yeah.
people like that. If they had NIL deals, then Maybe that could have been possible.
Yeah,
I'll put that could definitely been possible.
absolutely.
That would have been more possible. This now is a little different, but not knocking it. It's just now it's the inner city more so than the rural area because rural area at one point in time dominated the inner city. I'll put that to you in plain fact.
Yeah.
It depends where you're at, but
Yeah, but if you look at the demographic shifts in North Carolina over the last two censuses, a lot of people are leaving the rural areas and moving into the urban and suburban areas. So, if you just look at some of the schools in Union County, a lot of times, if you look at some of their standout players, like I went to school with his dad, I went to school with his uncle, that type of thing. So, I mean, a lot of people in Charlotte, a lot of people in Charlotte Metropolitan, in the what Anson's a part of Charlotte Metropolitan, but in the closer into the greater Charlotte metropolitan area, a lot of people are descendants of Anson County. So, like, I'm gonna give you an example. DJ Burns, a star basketball player for North Carolina State, he's from Rock Hill. His dad's from Ansonville.
really,
Yeah, you know Johnny Burns, don't you?
yeah, yeah.
That's his uncle.
Okay,
You know
Johnny
DJ Burns. Um,
Pondre.
DJ Burns to play for North Carolina State. He's like one of their top players. Yeah, that's Johnny Burns' nephew.
Okay, yeah, I know Johnny. I know Pondre. That's his brother.
Yeah, one was one of his brother's sons. I don't know which one of his brothers, but it's one of Johnny's brother's sons.
I know it ain't Pondre because I know both of them. But
You know, when next time you talk to them, you could ask them that, and they'll tell you that DJ Burns is their nephew. Real talk.
okay, I see. I did not know.
See, that's the point I'm making when you talk about population shifts.
Yeah,
Um, so
that's a,
so
that's a shift.
so that type of thing is a real. I mean, if we for that we want to go Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I mean, if we take it way back then, his
Yeah,
mom his mom was from Polkton. I mean,
yeah. But
everybody,
they
everybody.
look at they was born in New York City, but they're not gonna trace that root from the
Yeah, I mean,
beginning.
but Kareem will tell you his mom's from Polkton. I mean, he's said it multiple times in public. So I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
it's not a big secret. So all I'm saying is population shift and migration and all that. That's a natural part of life. And that's one of those things where you either, when it comes to change society, you're either going to adapt or you're going to get left by the wayside. You don't have to like it. There are a lot of things that go in society that I don't like. There are things I see that I don't like every day. There are things I turn my TV on, I see, and I don't like it. But at the end of the day, people have a right to do things I don't like, as long as they're not doing it, as long as they're not infringing upon me and my happiness.
that's well enough said. And with that, we up out. We'll see y'all next time. I will be live tomorrow as well. We're going over some music trivia. It was a thing that we seen. Charles Holly in the building, man. Appreciate you.
I might watch that just to put some commentary in, to
Oh
type some
yeah,
stuff on the screen.
it was a I didn't tell you out the topic because basically it was there was a question asked who would have had, let's just say for the sake of argument, it was Beyonce versus Lauryn Hill. Do you think Lauryn Hill's career outside her one album would have she would have skyrocketed? Let's just say like you know. But I'll say that for tomorrow.
Oh yeah, because I mean I got so much to say about that. Will run me on a 30-minute tangent. But go ahead.
But yeah, that's what the topic was. We wanted to see Lauryn Hill, Beyonce and Lauryn Hill. It's gonna be really interesting.
I will make one state comment on that.
Okay.
Beyonce's the bigger iconic star.
Mm-hmm.
Lauryn Hill is the better musical composer slash
Talent.
yeah, I don't want to simplify it as talent. I can't think of the word I want to. It's to me, it's like for like I always say that Michael Jackson's the greatest musical entertainer to ever live, but I don't necessarily say he's the greatest artist. I say he's the greatest musical entertainer.
Entertainer.
But, yeah, it's just like I say, Kanye West is not a great rapper. He's a great musical composer. So I think Lauryn Hill is the better musician. Beyonce is the bigger and better entertainer.
That'll work. And with that, we'll be live tomorrow. I think that was about I think that'll be about 8 or 9. But Turn your
Got the poll.
notifications on. They let you know 30 minutes before we get ready. So y'all tune in. And with sports, we'll be back. Cause it's basketball season, man. We still here. We ain't on
Yes,
the
sir.
couch. We ain't on the couch this year. We playing on TV.
Yes, sir.
But
And
we
winning.
out. We out.